It's all good, it's okay. Sometimes we make mistakes here and there. We regret the choices that we made. Luckily, we get a break and reap the benefits of decisions we decide by chance or enlightenment. By one step at a time, we'll conquer this. Talk it over, vocalize, discuss our problems. The solution resides sometimes in conversation we had, so unpacking this baggage is advantageous. These here are our choices. Sometimes we can't avoid it, but at times we enjoy it. Other times we're stuck with these choices.
Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in to my podcast. My name is Edwina, but my friends call me Ween, so you are welcome to do the same. That's a long story. I will share that in another episode. But in this episode, I just wanted to introduce myself and pretty much lay out the framework for choices. So, I know you're probably wondering, like, choices, what is that about? So, the backstory to that is when my husband and I learned that we were pregnant, we started throwing out names. My husband was set on a boy, so he was focused on boy names. So, as we're throwing out names, he yells out choice. And I look at him and I'm like, you're joking, right? Like, who wants to name their kid choice? But no, he was dead serious. And his reasoning behind that is he wanted our son to know that life is about choices. He wanted him to be the one to decide whether or not the choice was good or bad. So with your name being choice, like, how could you not think about certain situations and be like, is this a good one or is this the bad one? Should I fall back? Should I go for it? So it will also remind those around him of the same thing. So although it's not a conventional name, I can't front. I had to admire the meaning behind it. We weren't blessed with a son. We actually have 2 daughters, but the name Choice still rings and resonates with me, which is why I named my podcast Choice. And it is the decision for all of us to decide. So, we make choices every day. We make a choice, whether or not we're going to stay in bed or we're going to get up, whether or not we're going to go to work or we're going to call in sick, whether or not we want to wear this outfit opposed to that outfit. I mean, the list goes on, right? Some choices are extremely minor, whereas other choices can be life-changing. It just all depends on the day. And most of the choices that take place, we make between ourselves. This conversation that we have, in our heads to decide on what we're going to do. As I mentioned before, when the alarm goes off, we decide if we're going to hit the snooze button or not. We choose what we're going to wear, eat for the day, decide if we're going to return that phone call, exercise, change our eating habits, look for a new job, and the list goes on. So, I've been thinking about, the numerous choices that I've made in my life. And, as I've been thinking about that and reflecting and doing some inner work for myself, I came across this book called The 4 Agreements. It is a really, really good book. I recommend that everybody check it out. It pretty much discusses the 4 agreements that offer us a way in which to live a life of freedom, true happiness, and love. So before we dig into these 4 agreements, we first have to address the current agreements that we have made with ourselves. So the question you ask yourself is, what agreements have I made with myself that are sabotaging my life? So for me, my big thing has been body image. I have, I guess the correct word is suffered, or, it's been an internal battle dealing with, the way I look, the way, I don't have a 6-pack, I don't have a flat tummy, it's now even more so, that I've had 2 kids and still working on, trying to get my body to somewhat how it was before pregnancy. And, I don't have big boobs. I don't have the biggest butt. I wear glasses all the time, so that kind of, takes away. So it's just a lot of internal things that I've had to deal with, and body image is my big thing. So, the main thing is when I look in the mirror, it's like, well, I don't like that. I don't like that. This looks a mess. Instead of thinking about it in terms of, well, what can I do to fix this? I said that, I don't, sometimes my weight fluctuates, so I don't like that. I don't like the way my clothes fit in certain areas. So what am I going to do to fix that? So my choice to fix that was to get up and take action. So that involves me, watching what I'm eating, restricting the certain foods that I eat and that I don't eat. It involves me being active. That means getting up, not sitting around, not laying around all day, but actually getting up and moving, whether it be going up and down the stairs, whether it be taking a couple laps around the neighborhood, whether it's, going downstairs and hopping on the elliptical for 10-15 minutes, whether it means, working out with a personal trainer. It all depends on, how I'm feeling for that day and how I'm able to align it with my schedule. But at the end of the day, all I know is that I have to get up and move, and I have to watch what I'm eating in order to make that change, in order to look at myself differently and to be able to say, hey, I didn't like that, but I made the choice to implement this change in order to get the results that I want. So, other areas to look at could be your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. What's holding you back? Are you doubting yourself? Why? What's stopping you from pursuing them? I know some excuses I had were, I'm not smart enough. I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I'm not pretty, attractive enough. Do I have what it takes to succeed? I'm not the right size, weight wise, and it seems like I'll never get there. I have responsibilities. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. I have people who need me. I have people who reach out to me. I have people who, you know, want to be a part of what I'm doing. So it seems like, all of that consumes what it is that I dream of doing. And because, everyone's pulling at me, and because I have these doubts about myself and insecurities about myself and excuses, I never get to work on my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations. So for me, I had to make the choice. I've been talking to my husband and a few friends about this podcast for at least a year or two. And I keep saying, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. But I never sat down to actually write it out, set out a plan, set out a timeline, set out goals. I never sat down to do that. And this summer, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm tired of talking about it. I made the choice to take action. I wrote out a plan. I set in motion what needed to get done, how I was going to set it up, what I wanted to talk about, name of the podcast, everything. And that was within a matter of a few weeks. I laid all that out. So I was using everything that everyone else wanted and that I thought I couldn't do to prevent me from doing what it is that I wanted to do. And a lot of us are guilty of that. We put everyone and everything else above what it is that we want to do. And some stuff we're doing, we don't even want to do it. We're doing it because someone else said that we should be doing it, or that, oh, you're great at it, because they don't want to do it. And then we're miserable because of it. So we have to make the choice to say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Or, you know what, no, I can't do that today because I need to work on something for myself. Or no, I'm unavailable today because I need time for myself. It's okay to say no. It's okay to take time out for yourself. It's okay to be selfish for yourself, because if you aren't where you need to be, if you aren't full, then how are you going to be able to pour into somebody else? You can't give from an empty cup. So, in order for you to be able to give and be your best to others, you have to be the best version of yourself for yourself. So, some other things to think about, when discussing the four agreements, or I should say, agreements that you made that are sabotaging your life, are what are some areas that you need to address? Are there some old agreements that you need to break? And when I read this, like, this hit home for me because I've made so many agreements in my life that I'm just like, what, girl, what is you doing? Like, why do you believe that? Or why do you feel that way? Like, there's no need for you to feel or think that way, because you're the one, you are the one that decides how your life is going to be. So if you want to be miserable, if you want to be bitter, if you want to be unhappy, then that's your choice. But if you want to be happy, if you want to, have inner peace, if you want to be have a life of fulfillment, then that's also your choice. At the end of the day, you decide. You're the only one that is in control of your life. So you make the choice on whether or not you want to live a happy, fulfilled, and joyful life, or you want to live a bitter, miserable, and unhappy life. Me personally, I want the happy, fulfilled, and joyful life. So that's what I'm working towards. That's why I'm putting in the work, the inner work, to work past all of the old agreements that are sabotaging my life so that I can live the life that I choose. Um, and as we're working, through these old agreements, there's going to come a point in time where it's not going to work at the pace that we think it should be working. It's not going as fast as we want it to. And I can admit, I'm guilty of instant gratification. Like, if I've done something, I want to be rewarded right then and there. Because, I've done it. You've asked me to do it, or you didn't ask me to do it, and I did it because I see it need to be done. So I want to be rewarded for doing that. So yeah, I'm the first to admit that. And I'm the first to admit that I can be extremely impatient, especially when it comes to um body changes when working out. Like, I think I'm the most impatient people when it comes to working out. Like, I feel that after at least 2 weeks I should see something. Like, can I see like a one ab pop out, or can I see a cut in the leg? I mean, something. Can I see like a little shrinkage in the face or the hips or the waist? I mean, something. Let me use a few inches. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It's all about consistency. It's all about following the plan, and it's all about discipline. So we have to practice patience, because impatience is another form of resistance. Um, it's resistance to learning and to changing. When we demand that it be done right now, you have to complete it right then and now, then we don't give ourselves time to learn a lesson involved with the problem that we've created. So here's a perfect analogy. And I got this information from another great book. This book is called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Another great book I recommend that you read. It is awesome. I mean, so many gems in there that is crazy. But she gave this perfect analogy that folds perfectly with this. Okay, so here it is. If you want to move to another room, you have to get up and move step by step in that direction. So, say for instance, you're in the living room and you want to go to the kitchen for a snack. So, in order to get to the kitchen, you got to get up and walk to the kitchen, right? The kitchen's not going to come to you. The snack's not going to come to you. So, you're going to have to get up and walk to the kitchen step by step to get there. So, just sitting in the chair in the living room and demanding that you be in the kitchen isn't going to work. It's the same thing when we have a problem, we want it to be over with, right? We don't want to deal with it. We just like, can you just come? You here? Can you just work yourself out and go? We want it to be over with. But we don't want to do the small things that will add up to the solution. So, as much as we want it to be over with, that's just not how it works. We have to look at the situation, look at the problem head on, see our place in the problem, or where the problem can be um where in the problem can what in the problem can be resolved. Like, what part do I have in the problem? There it is. I finally made my way through it, y'all. It took me a while. Okay. What part did I play in the problem? And then what can I do that can help resolve this problem? So, okay, for instance, let's go back to me and my whole body image problem. So, if I had it my way, I'd go from being, you know, this fluffy, you know, I'll just put it out there. Hey, I ain't ashamed. I'll be fully transparent and vulnerable. Okay, so I'll put out this 150-pound 5'1" person and instantly change her to a good 125 to 130-ish pound 5 feet 1 inch person. That's, got the nice cut physique, slim in the waist, flat tummy, fit thighs that ain't rubbing together. There's a nice little gap there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But that's not how it works. I have to look at the problem, see the part I played in the problem, which was sitting all day or either laying around all day, not doing any activity, no movement. And I was eating whatever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to. And I added snacking as well. So those added to the problem. So in order for me to move on, I have to say, okay, this is the problem, and this is what I'm going to do to work through the problem. I'm going to cut back on the eating. I'm going to cut back on the snacking. I'm going to exercise consistently, and I'm going to be more active. Whatever activity I decide to do, that's what I decide to do, as long as I'm up and moving. And by me doing that, those small little things are going to add up to my solution. And my solution is me losing the weight, toning up, and being and getting the results that I want, reaching my goal, right? So those are the steps that we have to take to work through the problem and to have patience doing it. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take patience. It's going to take discipline. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay? You're going to have to be patient and work through it. And as you work through it and work through it and work through it, you'll start to see changes. You'll start to see results. And as you see those, you're like, okay, I got it. I can keep going, go a little bit more, see some more results, and then just keep going and keep pushing until you reach that goal. You reach that goal, you set a new one. Then you keep going, keep pushing, keep going, keep pushing, and get even more results. So, before we can move into making these changes, we have to make a decision that we want to change, that we want to make these changes. And one of the examples given in the book I was telling you about, You Can Heal Yourself, is use the affirmation, I'm willing to change. You say, I'm willing to change, I'm willing to change. Just repeat that over and over and over and over again. And the more you repeat it, the more you'll start to feel it and start to accept it. And the more you'll be willing to change. And being willing to change will allow the changes to happen when they come up in your life. So, as problems arise and as you keep repeating the affirmation, I'm willing to change, I'm willing to change, you'll notice that because you have that willingness to change, you're able to decipher through the problems just a tad bit easier. Just a tad bit easier. And be on the lookout for those areas where you don't want to change, because that's where you need to focus. The areas where you don't want to change, where there's resistance, that's where you need to focus. That's where work needs to be done. So these are, just a few tools, a few things that I've picked up over this past year. That given the time that we've been home, working through the pandemics, just giving me time to reflect and do some work within myself that's been long overdue. And just reflecting and meditating and looking within myself for the answers. For the longest time, I've looked to others for the answers. I've leaned on friends and family, when it came to making certain decisions, certain choices in my life, rather than, trusting myself and believing that, hey, this is your life. You are just as capable, if not more capable, of making this decision than anybody else, because it's for you. It's about you. So why wouldn't your word be enough? Why wouldn't your choice be enough? So, just something that, I've been working through, and also learning self-acceptance. That's a big thing, guys. That's a big thing. Like, you have to accept yourself. Like, who cares about anybody else? Who cares what anybody else thinks? If you accept yourself, that's all that matters. And self-love. We've got to love ourselves first and foremost. You got to fall in love with yourself first and foremost before you can love or care for anybody else. You got to love yourself. You got to. And then validation. Look within yourself for the validation. You give yourself validation. If you want to go out and you want to start your own business, if you want to go out and pursue a new career, if you want to go out to school and get another degree, or if you want to go out and get the degree that you weren't able to finish, then you give yourself the validation to go out and do that. You don't have to look to anybody else. What you say is enough. If you say you're going to do that, then you go do that. It doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. If that's what you've decided to do for you and for your life, then that's all that matters. And just to share what the 4 agreements are, I know I mentioned them in the beginning, so I'll share them with you. I won't go into too much detail because I want you to go out and get the book and read it for yourself, because I think you'll be truly blessed by it. But the 4 agreements are, number 1, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Stay away from using the word to speak negative of yourself or to talk about others. Use the power of your word in the way of love and truth. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. It is a reflection of their own reality. When you are unaffected by the opinions and actions of others, you will be free from pointless suffering. Don't make assumptions. Have the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as possible to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. This alone can change your life. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy and sick. In all situations, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. don't make assumptions, and always do your best. I think those are pretty simple and useful agreements, I would have to say. I'm sure that all of us can follow and would surely make life a whole lot easier, be able to breathe a lot more freely, and would no longer be concerned about what everyone else has to say, because you'll be entirely focused on you and what it is that you want out of life. So that's pretty much it for this episode. Like I said, I just wanted to introduce myself and provide the background of what Choices is all about. So, each episode I'll be talking about a different topic, just discussing, my choices, my experiences. Hopefully you guys can relate and that I'm able to share something that helps you along the way. So until next time, I want to thank you for joining me on today's episode. I hope something was said that uplifted you today or helped you through the day. And in the event no one else has told you today, you are beautiful, you are loved, and you are worth it. Until next time, peace.
It's all good, it's okay. Sometimes we make mistakes here and there. We regret the choices that we made. Luckily, we get a break and reap the benefits of decisions we decide by chance or enlightenment. By one step at a time, we'll conquer this. Talk it over, vocalize, discuss our problems. The solution resides sometimes in conversation we had, so unpacking this baggage is advantageous. These here are our choices. Sometimes we can't avoid it, but at times we enjoy it. Other times we're stuck with these choices.